So today I want to introduce you all to our mini forest. We also call this the high density forest because high density planting is the key to this reforestation technique. So what are we looking at here? Well, this site was a patch of grass just like this, and we planted a lot of different native trees and shrubs from a climax forest ecosystem. So you have your upper canopy oaks and hickories, you have your mid canopy red mulberries, you have your shrub layer, and you plant them all at once. You plant them very closely, and this style of planting allows you to reforest an area. Remember, this was grass, and do it very quickly, because all of these trees and shrubs begin to shift this site into a forest microclimate much more quickly than if we planted individual trees spaced out. We also don't have to mow between individually planted trees. You know, these trees are already shading out any competition, and they're also growing very fast. Later in this video, I'm going to show you some of the planting pictures from when we first planted and some drone shots of the progression of this mini forest. So here's a picture of planting day. This was February 2022. So a little less than a year and a half before the video you were just seeing. What I want you to notice here is each of those colored flags is marking the location of a planted tree. So this gives you a sense of scale, shows you how small the trees were at planting, and shows you how quickly they've grown. Now here's a drone shot shortly after planting. You can't see many trees, partly because they're dormant, so they don't have their leaves, but also partly because they're so small. The little bits of green you see there is mainly just grass. Now here's a video. This video is from May of that same year, so a few months after planting. You can see that the grass has really popped up in many different places. Grass was a challenge on this site. We have some notes on how to do this better next, but that'll be in a different video. The thing to note here is just, again, how many flags you can see. Each flag is flagging an individual tree and the size of the trees at this point. So we had to lay down a lot of cardboard and mulch to cover up that grass. Shout out to all the volunteers who helped us with that process. But you can see here, eventually we got everything mulched, and you can start to see the little trees as they're growing. Here is a drone shot from that summer after everything is nicely mulched. You can see little bits and pieces of trees. Each little green dot there is a tree. Here's a drone shot from fall. You can see the trees are getting bigger now. They're casting shade. The little rings are just piles of mulch we added around the trees, but this is starting to create a little forest here. Now this is a big transition here. This is suddenly June of this year, 2023. So again, only about a year and a half after planting. Look how large the trees are now. They're flowering already. Those are all elderberry flowers. Some are taller than me, 7-8 foot tall. They're starting to grow together, adding a lot of shade. Again, we're starting to create a microclimate in this forest. Just to quickly show you again what it looked like summer of last year, and then 1 year later it looks like this. So I want to show you some of the diversity that we planted in here. We planted about 70 different species. So we've got black locust, we've got American holly, we've got an ash tree, we've got possum holly, we've got a fringe tree, we've got a red mulberry. Again, the planting is random. There's lots of different species in here, and not all of them will make it, but the ones that are happiest in the site, the ones that are growing best, will do very well. And some of the others might slow down and stay in the shade and stay in the lower canopy, but that's okay too. We want them there. Here's another mini forest we've planted. This one's younger. We planted it this year, 2023, in February, and it is now August, early August. The trees haven't grown quite as quickly in this mini forest because we're thinking the soil's not as good as it is at Pandoland. But to give you a sense of the context, this is a railroad, and we tucked the mini forest on the edge of the railroad next to the parking lot at Leaf and Limb. And it's a good example of how you can fit a mini forest into a small area. This is about 20 foot by 10 foot, and these trees will grow up and provide a nice screen between our parking lot and the railroad. So please let us know if you'd like to come visit either of these sites. We're happy to give tours. It's exciting to watch these trees grow. They grow pretty fast, and it's been fun to watch the diversity come in quickly. All sorts of insects and birds, probably other things we haven't seen yet. Yeah, there's a lot to learn from these mini forests.